You are just in time for the Real Estate Profits with Purpose. Keep it here and learn how to buy and sell real estate the right way. Here are your hosts, Ian Boshoff and Jessica Couch.
Welcome to Real Estate Profits with Purpose. I'm your host, Ian Boshoff, and I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Jessica Couch. How you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Well, thanks for tuning into our show here on 1380 The Answer. Today's show is about getting a deal on real estate and why, while you still can. Right?
It is the time.
That seems to be everyone's question, kind of when to jump into the market. Is a crash coming? But we've got a lot of these unanswered questions for you here during the show today. And be sure to text us or give us a call during or after the show to 916-872-7177. That's 916-872-7177. But first, before we get into this, our mortgage and real estate brokerage provides a streamlined white glove service approach with each client, ranging from first-time home buyers, homeowners, and real estate investors emerging into the housing market. And when you work with us, we donate 10% of the profits to Sweet Dreams Foundation. So thank you for those who listen to the show, and be sure to give us a call or text us at 916-872-7177 or log on to promortgagerealty.com if you'd like to be a part of our cause or have any questions. So thanks again for listening. So wanted to jump into this. Today's show is about getting a deal in real estate while you still can. And the reason why this show is about that today is because of what all the news is saying.
Can you please share? This is where I come for all my reports.
I know. We've been seeing rates just climb and climb and climb. We've seen inflation just skyrocket over the past year. It's been a rough year for a lot of people in general with the cost of goods and food and travel, and expenses just seem to be going much higher while people aren't making the same level of money as they were, a couple years back. So a couple articles that we have to share, and I'd like to get into this U.S. This is CNBC article, Bloomberg actually. And so one of the articles is just recently posted is, number one, continuing applications for U.S. unemployment benefits rose to the highest levels in almost 2 years. Wow. Uncensoring and underscoring the increasing challenges unemployed workers are facing in finding new jobs. Recurring jobless claims, a proxy of the number of people continuously receiving unemployment benefits, jumped to 1.87 million in the week ended in November 4th, according to Department of Labor data out Thursday. That marked an 8th straight week of increases of jobless claims. Initial jobless claims rose to 230,000 in the week ending November 11th, which was the highest since August. So just enhancing on that article, there was someone was watching The View. I don't know who's watching it, but they were saying our economy's the best it's ever been, and I'm not quoting anybody, but that tells you the absolute opposite. Our economy has, the job market has been just very challenging for a lot of people. And in order to get out of the recession or to get in to catch up with inflation, we have to bump up rates. Right. And that has caused a lot of employers to mitigate the costs by letting people off. Right. Because they can't afford the cost of goods because those costs of goods have gone up. Right. The CPI index, the consumer price index, everything has gone up. So that really challenges business owners to be able to hold on to their employees, even though they want to. Right. They don't want to lose employees, and that's what's happened here. So the unemployment numbers are high. And so that's one reason why, if you have the ability, you have a job, or even if you don't have a job, to think about buying real estate in this market, right? And we're going to touch on that again. But another article per CNBC, and this is pretty interesting, that my dad sent me. Oh. he day trades all day, kind of retired.
Good for him.
But he just sends me articles here and there. But the cooler monthly inflation report pushes mortgage rates even lower. So the average rate of a 30-year mortgage fell 1.8 basis points to 7.4% on Tuesday, according to Mortgage News Daily, and Wall Street lowered its expectations for future federal rate hikes. So can I have some applause?
Yes.
Okay. That means that last month, it was the first time they haven't raised rates in a 13-month period.
Right. No, you gave us some good news last week. That was heartwarming.
And we also talked about on the last show that they're going to we're just on the cuff of approaching a recession. So when you catch up with inflation, now you got to deal with the aftermath of recession.
Now, how does the holidays play into this? Do you think that they're going to wait to announce this recession until after we're through the holidays, where retail doesn't take a further hit?
Yeah, I think it's going to take a little time. They don't want to jump the gun, and usually when they claim that we're in a recession, it's already after the fact.
Right.
So they're always looking to see consumer spending usually goes up during the holidays, but they're going to compare that consumer spending to the years prior.
Sure.
So it's a big thing to watch, and mortgage rates have already been on there declining since recent highs. We almost hit 8%.
Right.
And just recently, I quoted a gentleman putting 30% down on a property, but they literally a week ago, I was quoting 7.375. The very next day, I'm at 6.99%.
Hallelujah.
So we're in the sixes on a conventional loan with no points.
Oh, I am unconventional. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's FHA, I was looking at 6.375.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And where my brain goes is like, that's even more amazing if we use a 2-1 buy down. What kind of rate can we get that makes it affordable?
Yeah.
Because what else are you doing? Rent's going to continue to go up.
Yep.
It's not like the bottom's falling out of the rental market.
Yeah.
That continues to go up.
Yeah, and we're seeing everyone's seeing these prices drop because they're going, we're in a recession.
They were overpriced, number one. They were overpriced. Let's start with that.
Yep.
They did not go on the market at the correct price.
With the rates where they are.
Where the rates are, yes. And so you're seeing that price reduction.
Yeah.
And our buyers are still taking advantage of getting the seller to pay for that seller credit for the buy down, and often for closing costs as well.
Yeah.
So, don't let that limit your belief that it's not available. The fact that prices have dropped and have come into this reasonable, because we have the inventory for it. That changes everything. It's supply and demand.
Everyone talks about that, Jessica. Like everyone's like, I'm going to wait till rates drop even further. Well, they just dropped to hell in a handbasket, a half percent in rate.
Right,
so,
which I didn't think we'd see till next year.
Yeah, neither did I. And I think that news that we're seeing, and I'll just reiterate, the news that we're seeing is we are caught up with inflation, right? The inflation numbers are there. The consumer price index numbers are there. The unemployment numbers continue to rise.
Right.
So I know this is not a good thing to hear, but it's great for rates with people have interest in housing. Interest in buying a home.
Right.
And, if everyone's waiting for that real estate crash to happen, not going to happen.
Right.
It's an economic crash, right? And that's what we've experienced and been experiencing.
Right.
So the key thing here is if you're waiting for prices to drop more, you're going to be waiting for a long time. Because,
I would agree with that statement. You're going to be waiting for a long time because as rates come down, prices are going to increase. Again, this is supply and demand. And as more buyers come off the fence, we are going to have less inventory causing the price to come up.
Absolutely. We sound like a broken record, but whatever. The market forecast for POW, according to NBS, a mortgage-backed security market, all this information is derived from Barry Habib. He's like the biggest mortgage-backed security guru. He's the one that understands the bond trading, inflation. He is who they call when they want to interview on CNBC, MSNBC. He's the person. He's the almighty knowing person.
I like that you bring information from this man.
Yeah, I subscribe from him, Barry Habib. We pay money just to listen to his insight on what the market's doing. But the big things I want to point out here in this long article, I won't read the whole thing. The October producer price index, the PPI report showed that overall producer inflation decreased by 0.5%. Which was much lower than the estimates of 0.1%, and the largest decline since April 2020. Wow. Year over year, producer inflation fell from 2.2 to 1.3, again, well beneath the estimates of 1.9. So the overall, this was much cooler inflation report even more so than the consumer inflation data we saw yesterday. Lower producer inflation often leads to lower consumer inflation, as those savings are passed to the consumer. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, this is the big thing that I really want to enhance on. After yesterday's CPI report, that's the Consumer Price Index report, which goes over the cost of goods, the market is now expected the Fed to turn the car around and cut rates much sooner than previously forecasted.
Hallelujah.
Of course, the market does not have to be right, but take a look at what the Fed futures markets are right now predicting. Mm-hmm. And this is what we went over on our meeting yesterday, as you know,
right?
With Pro Mortgage and Realty. A January odds of a rate hike went from 30% to 2% chance of a cut.
What? Just another reason I want to give you a plug here, Ian. If you're an agent and you are not, and I talk to agents all the time that go, how do you know this? Because Ian disseminates it for us every single week. We are on we're in a group. We have all of this information. We have our questions answered, and then we are able to disseminate this out to our people, our buyers, our sellers, and we have a heads up on where we're going.
Absolutely. Well, I got 4 more months to go through real quick. March odds of a hike went from 14% to 33% chance of a cut. So we're going from hike to cut. Now they're leaning over to a 33% chance of cut for March. May odds first cross 50-50 of a cut in May at 85% was June previously. June now at 100% pricing in cut, which was previously July. In December, there are now 4 cuts priced in by December 24th. So they're saying by next year at December, they're going to have 4 cuts in interest rates. So if you are thinking about sitting on the fence longer, you may want to rethink this, refinance later, get a good deal on a price of a home. We're coming up on a break here, but I just want to thank you, everyone, for listening to our show. If you have questions during or after the show, text to 916-872-7177. We'll be back after this talking about why you should get in a deal on real estate while you still can.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Shepard with the Shepard Group. With decades of combined experience, we know what it takes to help make one of the biggest decisions of your lives. Whether it be selling or purchasing a new home, the Shepard Group has the strategies to maximize your profit or negotiate the best deal when putting an offer together and getting it accepted. We're driven by being the difference maker and understand how stressful it can be when making your next real estate move. And we'd like to help you by covering some of those out-of-pocket expenses associated with buying a home, like home inspections and appraisal fees. Giving back not only strengthens our community, but it fills our hearts. That's why we partnered with local nonprofit organizations to do our part. We believe faith without works is dead, and so we ask that you put your faith in the fact that you were right where you were supposed to be when you heard this message, and trust that when you call us, you and your family will be in good hands for all of your real estate needs. Call the Shepard Group today at 916-410-4455 or visit theshepardgrouphomes.com.
The Shepard Group, powered by Pro Mortgage and Realty, NMLS number 351319, DRE number 01745667.
Sweet Dreams Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to glorify God by spreading peace, hope, and love to families with medically fragile babies and children. They offer dream bedrooms to children battling life-threatening illnesses, and their Ruse Baby program creates an atmosphere that will lift the spirit of the child, where they can laugh, play, and let their inner light shine. To learn more about the Sweet Dreams Foundation, visit sweet-dreams.org. When you work with Pro Mortgage and Realty, you're supporting the Sweet Dreams Foundation. Partner with Pro Mortgage and Realty today to buy or sell a home and help support the Sweet Dreams Foundation to help more children in our communities. Call or text Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty today at 916-532-8916. That's 916-532-8916, or visit ProMortgageRealty.com. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 351319 and DRE number 01745667.
And now more with the Real Estate Profits with Purpose on AM 1380, The Answer.
Welcome back to Real Estate Profits with Purpose, here with Jessica Couch, as always. Thank you for joining. The first segment, we talked about all this news about what's going on with rates, and they are coming down.
Such good news. Such good news. I love a good news report.
And, you know, the show we're talking about is getting a deal on real estate while you still can. You just heard the proof, right? Rates are coming down. They're expected 4 rate drops by December of 2024, right? Which is next year.
Right.
And we're going to see our first rate drops. We've already seen some.
Yeah.
And
Very
we're
exciting.
about to see more. And we were talking about this on the break, Jessica, is you said is, you know, it takes a while to get in the position to purchase.
Right.
And everyone that's been sitting on the sidelines may be starting to hop off. Now, why would they want to hop off now as opposed to in, let's say, the next rate drop?
Well, I mean, 2 reasons. Number one, I hear people say, I'm going to wait until, rates drop. We talk about that at nauseum. When rates drop, when interest rates drop, prices are going to come up. It's the supply and demand. We're going to have less inventory and you're paying more for the house. Your mortgage is virtually the same amount. I'd rather have somebody be able to get in now while rates are still high, but we can get the seller to pay for that buy down, especially if they're going in with the FHA product. And then when rates come down, we can refinance into that 30-year lock. They could remove their PMI. Quite likely, because they'll have enough equity in their property. Then you need 20% equity to avoid the PMI. So it could really work to your advantage buying now rather than waiting until later when everybody jumps on. Second is when people say, I'm going to wait until next year, I'm going to be ready around March. You really need to be on the phone with Ian right now. Yeah. It often takes 3 or 4 months to get, pull another credit card. Maybe they don't have enough credit, or maybe they didn't have good credit, or there was a Comcast bill from, 2003 they didn't even realize was there. It's these silly little things that come up that take a minute to get off credit so that you can help them. And when you're pulling a soft pull, you're not affecting their credit as well. Yeah. There's a couple reasons that you do that, but I think this is what I try to make sure that our friends and family understand. There's no harm to your credit in this. Ian is helping you get ready so that you are ready when you want to pull the trigger in March, because it will be too late when you start then.
It happens. And plus, everyone comes at the lenders at the same time.
Yeah,
so
true.
when they see that rate drop, whose file am I working on first? So if you want to see something now, then there's a process. Usually it's same day pre-approval. But when the market increases with more people on the market to buy, then those turn times come. They take a little longer. Yeah. And just like Jessica said, if you have issues on your credit report that you're unaware of, or you just want to see where you're at, a soft pull credit is what we do. And so the difference between a soft and a hard pull is there's no impact on your credit score, and it doesn't impose trigger leads. And trigger leads you're going to get bombarded. And because Equifax, Experian, these companies, they sell this data to other lenders. Those lenders will call and try to undercut the existing lender or just lie to you. And I've seen plenty of times that they lied. Oh, I work with this person, and it's a full-blown lie. And so the ethics behind those aren't very solid. So we do a soft pull. We can see exactly where you're at. There's no cost to do that. People are scared. They don't want me to see how bad their credit is. I've seen it all. In 25 years, I've seen the lowest of the low, and the scores that were the lowest were probably mine when I got into the business, in 98. And so I can tell you how to get up there. And even Jessica, she knows everything about loans. She'll pre-approve you before you even talk to me. So it's
well, and I also want to say, I worked with another lender a couple years ago that couldn't get me approved. I'm self-employed. Oh, it's complicated. Can't do it. Yeah. I came to you and you're like, this is a slam dunk. So don't let one person's opinion or their lack of knowledge and what lenders will take a self-employed person. Don't let that get to you.
Yeah.
Talk to Ian, get a second opinion, and make sure that you're working with someone who's going to go that extra mile, find a creative way to make it work. Because I was able to purchase, and you've helped, everybody on our team as well with their personal purchases, as well as all of our clients.
Well, thank you. That's nice. I like that.
Oh, it's true. It's true. Not everybody knows every loan out there and how to creatively make things work. And when you have that attitude of like, oh, it's going to work, and that is your attitude, like, we're going to make it work. It might take 3 months. We'll find a product that works. We'll, finesse this, tweak that, and make the product work.
Well, we're going to get into about 15 different loan products
excited.
On the third segment, so you don't want to miss it, because we're going to touch into why you should get into a deal right now and why there's still deals available right now. But when it hits the end of winter and beginning of spring, that's the hot moment.
It is.
So you want to get in before that. This is not just a sales tactic here. This is the reality of what our market is approaching right now. So
couldn't agree more.
So we understand, why are we getting in a deal right now, Jessica? Because houses are sitting longer,
houses
price reductions, unrealistic listing prices, and rates have been up. Now, why not wait longer? Well, why not wait till rates do come to a level where it's more palatable? You mentioned a 2-1 buy down. Expand on that and tell me about how you're using it.
Well, how Ian uses this product. No, the 2-1 buy down is a great way to buy that rate down. So you just mentioned FHA. You were able to quote it. What was the quote recently?
It was 6.375, no points.
Amazing. Okay, so we can take that 6.3 with the seller credit. First year is 4.3. Your second year is 5.3. In year 3, if rates haven't come down yet, which is not the prediction, you would go back to that 6.3. But the predictions are rates are going to come down. So you would be able to refinance in, say, 12 to 15 months into a low locked interest rate. And as rates come down and inventory comes down as well, prices go up. Now you have more equity in your property. So it's a better time to be able to purchase now, even though rates are high, using that buy down product to make your payment the same as it would be next year as rates come down. But you have that equity. That is the big to do. You'll have that amount of equity. And right now we have inventory.
4.375 your first year of rate on FHA, 3.5% down.
Right.
That was a 4.375 for year 1. Year 2, year 1, you're going to experience 4 rate reductions by the Fed. That's what they're anticipating. That's a 100% chance is what they're saying. Okay. So you may want to wait to refinance, not buy, but refinance when you're hitting 1.5 to 2 years.
Yeah.
Because that's when we'll see what the Fed's going to say next year. Keep on listening to the show. But, 4.375 for a year, then 5.375. Now, I bet rates are going to be probably in the 4s after that first year. And guess who's paying for this temporary buy down and how Jessica's been negotiating this? The seller has.
And I want to point out this goes in an escrow account. So you're not losing that money. If rates come down in 12 months, that money's not gone. Yeah. It's in an escrow account you can use for a principal buy down.
And it's negotiated by Jessica or by any agent that knows what they're doing, for example. But that money is the seller's crediting towards you, towards your expenses. So that temporary buy down, that money sits in escrow. Whatever's not used is credited to the payoff when you go to refinance. That's a win-win-win. All
agree.
Across.
And when I've talked to people lately and they said, I just bought and rates stink. And I said, why didn't you do a buy down? A what? I'm like, your agent didn't talk to you about doing a buy down? Some of the people that I talked to, I'm sort of blown away that they didn't have all the information to make an educated decision. Yeah. And I think regardless of who you're working with, call and talk to Ian. At least make sure you have all the information and all of the options before making a decision. Because if you only know there's 2 ways to do it, you're making your best choice based on those 2 options. But if you have 10 options, you have more options to choose from. Let's make sure that we're using that strategy to work for you and your family.
Yeah, and these buy down products, they work in specific markets, specific houses. You can do them on jumbo. You can do them on residential, on the conforming areas. But some areas are more competitive than others. Bay Area, I know, is still highly competitive in that $1.1 million mark. So it may be harder to negotiate those, but in the most part, you should always go for it and see what you can get. So the question we got from a listener, and this is not a funny question. This is isn't there going to be a crash? Well, the crash has already happened. We've already hit a semi, and now we're trying to get the jaws of life out of
yes,
to get us out of the vehicle, And so the crash is a different type of crash. This is an economic crash. There's different crashes every 10, 15 years.
Thank you for pointing that out because, yes, I think you're right. This is an economic crash. Yeah. This crash that everyone was waiting for, the bottom falling out, it's 10% in most neighborhoods, under 600. That's not a huge number.
Right.
That's really not.
Well, that's, the Fannie Mae projected 10% increase in value for 2024.
I would completely agree. I'd be surprised if most of these neighborhoods in the 4 to 7 that we do a lot of. I'd be surprised if we don't see a 25% increase as rates come down and prices start going up. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, over the 18-24 month period, easy.
Yes.
And so that $500,000 house, that's $50,000 in equity over the course of next year,
right?
In 2024.
Oh, thank you for making that point. You're totally right.
So I think these are important details to ask yourself. And we're going to get into, coming up on the next topic, we're going to finish what we're talking about with what properties you should buy, right? Are we looking at multi-unit, condo, single family, or even commercial and, different type of residential? So you want to stay tuned for this next segment. And then also we're going to touch on what kind of financing is available for all these products and types of properties you're looking for. So I definitely want to invite our listeners to ask questions during and after the show. Be sure to log on to promortgagerealty.com. You can also text Jessica at 916-532-8916. That's 916-532-8916. We'll be back after this.
Hi, I'm Jessica Couch. When you're buying or selling your next home, work with an experienced team that knows the business, a local team that knows the market, and that has the skill set to take care of every single detail. We will get you top dollar if you're selling, and we'll help negotiate the best deal if you're buying, all without spending a dollar out of your own pocket. Work with Pro Mortgage and Realty. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we cover those out-of-pocket expenses like inspections, appraisal, and help with your closing costs. It's our commitment to make your next real estate transaction easy and stress-free as possible. We're not all about business. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we've developed deep roots in the community. We've partnered with local nonprofits, and we give back. Come work with the team that's got your back. Call or text today. Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty, 916-532-8916. Or visit us at promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros.
NMLS 351319, DRE 01745667.
Hi, I'm Ian Boshoff, CEO of Pro Mortgage and Realty. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we've streamlined the home buying process, providing you the fast mortgage pre-approval and top-performing real estate agents that will negotiate the best price for you, all under one roof. If you call or text to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, we'll help with those out-of-pocket expenses like home inspection, appraisal, and closing costs. We make it easy. From down payment assistance programs, no income qualifying loans to conventional FHA and VA loans, we have you covered. We'll help you find the right financing program and the right home. Be sure to ask about our temporary buy-down program that's negotiated towards your interest rate and can end up saving you thousands. Work with a team that's with you every step of the way. Work with the pros, Pro Mortgage and Realty. Call 916-872-7177 or visit promortgagerealty.com.
NMLS number 351319, DRE number 01745667. And now more with the Real Estate Profits with Purpose on AM 1380, The Answer.
Welcome back to Real Estate Profits with Purpose. Here with Jessica Couch. How's everyone doing? Doing good, Jessica?
I'm excited. I'm excited about this news you're giving us today. A rate drop.
Holy cow, right? This is coming down like I mean, seriously, it's seeing rates drop about 0.5% is like a big
Well, and I want to point out, if you were to go back and listen to previous shows or follow us on social media, you would see, I was just doing this the other day, just for funsies, but a lot of the stuff we talk about is happening right now. And I'm like, if you go back 3 months and see what we were saying, you will see that these predictions, I mean, Ian watches all this like at a level that I couldn't even keep up with. He is on it with the predictions, what's happening, those that are really in the know. So you are a good person to follow, and make sure that you are coming to Ian for strategy, because you really have a lot of good information that would take me hours to go through and disseminate, and I'm out showing property.
Well, you're here on the show too. So
well,
it's all
I know, but you're making time for all of these predictions. That's a lot of work. Well, so I just want to point out, like, if you're not following Ian, here's a reason to follow Ian, because he does have a lot of good information. You're going through and disseminating all of this, and it's a lot of stuff to go through to get all these predictions and see which ones are going to happen based on where our current market is.
And if you want to follow us, thank you, Jessica. Go to search on YouTube for Real Estate Profits with Purpose. You'll find our shows on there. Subscribe and follow. You can catch up on every show we've had, or go onto our website, promortgagerealty.com.
And then, all of our fun stuff will be listed there too. Anything we're doing, anything you want to join us for, all of our fundraising stuff and all the fun we have is going to be listed there as well.
Amen. Okay, well, I wanted to go finish up what types of properties. So we've been talking about, why you should jump on now, and, about getting a deal on real estate now while you still can. That's because rates are forecasted to drop 4 times by December 24th. The more buyers that hop in the market, the less deals you're going to get.
Right.
Because there's more demand.
Yeah.
And just by law, it goes, the more demand, prices go up. And we've all experienced
Absolutely.
that COVID.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
This is going to be the second COVID period. And so I don't mean that from a economic standpoint. I mean that from a price increase standpoint.
Right.
So,
Yes.
What types of property should you buy? Well, Jessica, I mean, obviously it's residential, right?
We do a lot of residential,
condo versus single family. Does it matter? Should you go? What should you do?
I always like to look at all of the options. So I had a gal years ago, and I've been able to help her again since. She was initially looking at a condo at 200. This was years ago at 200,000. I said, well, let's look at what the mortgage payment's going to be when you add in your HOA. Why don't we look at a house also? And she, anyway, we had this great conversation. She said, oh, somebody else is going to help me, and then no one was willing to show her anything at 200,000.
Right.
And I said, look, I'm not here about the commission. I'm here to make sure it's the best financial decision for you. I want to be able to come back in 4 or 5 years and sell this house for you when you're ready for something bigger. And she, whatever. Well, 5 years later, this school teacher needed to sell her house and get something bigger. Her and her fiance needed more room. They had animals, and it was a perfect storm where we had equity in the property. And she said, I am so glad that we had that conversation. And my mortgage payment that I could afford went into a single family, which we had a better luck selling and making a good amount of equity than we would have in that particular condominium complex that just didn't have that. I didn't think the equity was going to move there. So it depends on what your reasons are. If you're somebody that needs ground floor and you're on a limited budget and maybe you're doing a reverse mortgage and that's what you can afford and you can afford the HOA, I think it's strategy. I don't think it's a one size fits all. But I love single family.
Well, there's single families great, and they do go up in value, don't have HOA, but it all comes down to what you can afford too.
Absolutely.
And just like you said, your first property, it doesn't have to be checking all the boxes.
Right.
Property is expensive, and if you got to go in with what you can afford.
True.
And that's the purpose of talking to a lender, looking over your options, going over payment comfort, going over rate, going over fees, talking to the right agent, driving you to the right property for you, not them.
Yes.
So that's a main reason why you should work with Jessica Couch. And she's just a killer agent, one of the top agents in all of Sacramento area and surrounding areas. She's been doing this for 25 years. So be sure you seek out Jessica Couch as a real estate agent. She knows
I'm
her game.
aggressive. I will get you in a deal and make sure we negotiate. I really want to negotiate the very best deal because these people are coming back to us, and that's where our money is spent. It's on our clients making sure they're getting the best deal, and we're helping them with all of these things rather than a bus ad. And I think there's a big difference between someone running a bus ad and charging a higher commission or not giving back to the client versus what we're doing.
Right.
We are about the client and making sure that they have such an amazing experience that they are telling their friends and family, and we're getting that repeat business so we can afford to give back to their friends and family as well.
So condo is a good one. Condo you can still get in there. It may not be the best, but it's good for other people's situations. Single family residences by nature have always appreciated the most.
True.
Out of a lot of those. Then
multifamily?
Multifamily.
I love the duplex, the triplex, and the quad. Love the quad.
And then Fannie, Fannie Mae, they back the mortgage loans. They give the lenders the ability to offer you, the public, these loans. They just changed their requirement of 15% down on an owner-occupied multi-unit to 5% down.
That is great news.
And so if you don't have, let's say you want to live in a condo, you can use 3 of the other units as an owner-occupied property as long as you're occupying one of them.
Right.
And you can use the other 3 at 75% of their rental income to help you qualify. So for these 4 units, there's sometimes $1 million plus.
Right.
Right. Well, if you have strong rent and your income may be $85,000 to $90,000, you still may be able to qualify for $1 million 4 unit.
So you're saying rather than looking at just the condo for someone on a limited budget, look at a quad where you could use 3 of those rents to help you qualify. Even if your salary was only $80,000 or $90,000, you could qualify up and be able to live in, rather than just a condo, one of your 4 units and have the other 3 rented out.
That's a smart play. That the reason
strategy,
because ultimately we all know eventually HUD knows, Fannie Mae knows, these are going to be investment properties eventually.
Sure.
The whole thing. So they want to help people like you, because there is a housing shortage, to diversify what kind of asset you can acquire. So this is an important thing to think about. Same goes for a duplex. You can use the other unit to help qualify for triplex or 4-unit. Now, how about these 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 20 units?
Oh, that's a whole different ballgame. You're talking commercial.
Right. And commercial is something that we're building a leg on here with Pro Mortgage and Realty.
Very excited about that.
Yeah, Jessica and I are spearheading the commercial division. So commercial is a much more different animal, right? Commercial, on the financing aspect, you're going to need more than down. You cannot get down payment assistance on commercial.
What do you need down for commercial?
Well, it's not your 3.5% or 5% down or down payment assistance. Sometimes, depending on the property, depending on the experience of the person, is really what determines the value, and depending on the income that property produces.
Okay.
So it's a variant. It's a trick question, because ultimately, you need to have roughly, I'd say, 25 to 30% down.
I think that's realistic,
And so, depending on the property and the experience of the individual, what type of, if it's retail or if it's residential.
Good point.
Those are all different variances.
So maybe if someone had a duplex previously, but they're going into retail and a strip mall or something of that sort, they may not have that. Yeah, the experience is going to mean they may need more down.
Yep. And if you go from, let's say, what I talked to a gentleman who owns multiple commercial pieces of property. We were just talking about this the other day, Jessica. The way he got into it was a duplex.
There's the starter.
And then he hopped into a 4-unit. Then he hopped into a 10-unit. And so he took the proceeds from the sales of those units and it kept on expanding the amount of doors he had. He remained in the residential piece, right? He didn't jump to retail commercial. He jumped to residential commercial. Anything above 4 units is commercial. So very important to know if you're looking at property why you see good deals on 5 units, because there's less buyer market.
Very true.
On a commercial financing piece. So hopefully that's some good information for everyone out there. And, I think, talk to Jessica about the real estate piece on that, because it's a different animal. And
we had a client call that said, I heard about a 5-unit or something you mentioned. I think it was like 600,000. I said, when was this? Oh, it might have been like 5 years ago, maybe. So we've had some dialogue since then.
5 years ago.
Pulled up some other properties, the 5 units, but we're looking at $1 million, even for properties that are like off the beaten path. We're talking Isleton, properties that are like, they're off the beaten path. That's where you're really going to get a deal. And they need a great amount of repairs if you're finding something with 5 units and under $1 million. So, take that all into consideration. If you're somebody who's a contractor and you have the ability to work on this property and get a good deal, maybe that's something we can look at.
I think the big thing too is people misconceive about is, they're going to make money on a multi-unit. It's not a short-term
not immediate.
play.
It's not a short-term.
You're not making money on a 2-unit. You're barely breaking even on a 4-unit, depending on your down payment. Yeah. The higher the down payment, the more opportunity there is to cash flow monthly.
Sure.
But mainly, you're getting the depreciation, you're getting the tax deduction, and you're getting someone else to pay your mortgage, and you're utilizing the equity to purchase a larger unit. Which at that point, once you're above 4-unit. I feel you're going to hit the cash flow point.
Right.
So once you get into the bigger field, the bigger arena, this is probably a 2 or 3-step play to get anything above 4 units.
Oh, I would say for sure. Yeah, two to 3 step.
Yeah.
Yes.
So unless you've been sitting in like a squirrel harvesting your acorns for a long period of time.
But there are some people that have done that. I've talked to a few people recently where they said, oh, we have a family home in the Bay Area and it's under market. And I'm like, what? You were sitting on so much money. If you were to pull a HELOC or refinance, you could use that money for a 4-unit or for a 5-unit.
Yeah.
And this could be in play for you and working for you instead of just sitting there not doing anything. Make your money work for you.
Make your money work for you. Make money on money. I love it. Well, I wanted to get into now we understand what types of properties to jump into. We touched on what the market's doing, why you should jump in the market, and why getting a deal on real estate while you still can is important. I've seen high-end homes drastically reduce prices We just dropped one from 1,789. It's on the market for 1,489 now.
Oh, so under 1.5, and this is that huge property.
Yep, 7-bedroom, 5-bath in Rockland, Whitney Oaks, gated community, clubhouse, golf course, a clubhouse deli and cafe, and I mean, you name it, it checks every box. 7 bedrooms, 5 baths, and it has 5,300 square feet of house. And these are custom built homes, and we're dropping these prices. So these homes are dropping. The middle range is somewhat dropping, but not as much. And the low range is, increasing in price. But we're coming up on a break here. I'd like to invite our listeners to ask questions during or after the show, and also to text to 916-872-7177 with your name. We'll invite you to enter to win the Christmas Mortgage Miracle, which pays for your mortgage or rent for the entire year. Coming up on the break, talking about loan products. You don't want to miss us.
Sweet Dreams Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to glorify God by spreading peace, hope, and love to families with medically fragile babies and children. They offer dream bedrooms to children battling life-threatening illnesses, and their Ruse Baby program creates an atmosphere that will lift the spirit of the child, where they can laugh, play, and let their inner light shine. To learn more about the Sweet Dreams Foundation, visit sweet-dreams.org. When you work with Pro Mortgage and Realty, you're supporting the Sweet Dreams Foundation. Partner with Pro Mortgage and Realty today to buy or sell a home and help support the Sweet Dreams Foundation to help more children in our communities. Call or text Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty today at 916-532-8916. That's 916-532-8916, or visit promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 351319 and DRE number 0174567.
If you or a family member are in the process of buying a home, then you'll want to hear this. Pro Mortgage and Realty has streamlined the home buying process, providing you with mortgage pre-approval and a top-performing real estate agent all under one roof. And if you call or text within the next 10 minutes to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, they will cover your closing costs. Pro Mortgage and Realty makes it easy. They will negotiate the best deals and save you thousands by using one company. From down payment assistance programs, DSCR loans, FHA and BA loans, and more. They cover all aspects of mortgage and real estate, from finding you the right finance programs to finding you the right home. Work with a company that can be with you throughout the whole home buying process. Call 916-872-7177 or visit promortgagerealty.com for more information. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 315319 and DRE number 017456667.
And now more with the Real Estate Profits with Purpose on AM 1380, The Answer.
Welcome back here with Jessica Couch.
Hello.
And we're sitting here just contemplating our strategy for the next year on what we're doing on property. But,
Yeah, you want to know what we're doing? Call in. No, I do think that's a good mark. I think when you're talking to people that are in the industry themselves,
Yeah.
that have been in the industry for a long time, that have been part of this, it's good to strategize with those people and know what you're doing and sort of have some other options available than just one or two.
Exactly. I hear a lot of people talk to other people when I'm giving them loan products and options, and they go, well, my friend said I should do this, and then my family member said I should look into this, or I should do this. Well, you're talking to somebody that only does this, so a lot of people, I keep on saying I don't know why you say that, but a lot of people listen to their friends and family, but you want to listen to someone who's licensed, credentialed, and is around this every day, listens to the news, shows property every day, understands the market, understand what's getting accepted, what areas to look at, what things to look for. Talk to a professional. Stop talking to your friends and coworkers about it.
Well, especially if your friend and coworker is renting an apartment, because I get this all the time. Like, oh, my buddy said, I'm like, your buddy that's renting an apartment? Is that the same buddy we're talking about?
Yeah.
I would take advice if we're talking about your aunt that has 10 rentals that's been in this game since 1980. Absolutely.
Yep.
Get her in the car.
Listen to her.
I want to hang out with her.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that it's somebody who has the experience and the knowledge that's following the market.
Absolutely. Good advice. So that drove me nuts. But I just said, look, what does she do every day? She She's an admin at a company, and I said, "What do I do every day?" Okay, so that's
fair
let's
point.
Just talk about that.
Yes.
But the big thing I want to get into are loan types, loan
Oh,
products.
yeah.
The list is staggering of what we can offer. I'm going to list them all off.
Okay.
We're going to go over them real quick,
I like it.
synopsis, and you're going to ask me questions. I'm going to ask you questions of why you think it's good. But FHA is for a first-time home buyer. And a first-time home buyer is someone that has not owned in 3 years.
That's one of my favorites.
You can continue to use an FHA loan if you haven't had one in over 3 years or owned in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or there's special circumstances that you could get around it as well.
It is an owner-occupied loan, and if you're moving from one house in an FHA loan to another that is going to be FHA loan, there are some mileage requirements or certain special circumstances that will allow you to have 2 FHA loans if you're holding on to that property. But you really have to prove to the banks this. So we've been down that road. There's VA, of course, for our veterans that get 100% financing. They get 100% financing, and we get all the closing costs negotiated for them. And this can go up to millions of dollars in real estate. So if you're a veteran, you have solid income, or you've just recently acquired a salaried position. Very important that you know the details about your VA eligibility. We can pull all of that up for you. So be sure to log on to ProMortgageRealty.com. There's also USDA 100% financing.
A favorite of mine. You have to be in a rural area, but you'd be
area.
surprised
Yep.
what areas sometimes qualify. So I love that loan.
USDA.gov is where you can have a heat map. It'll tell you where you can qualify for. We can also tell you exactly, a property address, and that's 100% financing.
Right.
It's a solid loan, and if you can get away with that, that's great. We have Jumbo. We have CalHAFA, which is down payment assistance. We have renovation loans, DSCR loans, multi-unit financing, which is commercial, no ratio owner-occupied, which means you don't really have to prove income on an owner-occupied property if you have substantial equity.
Okay.
At least 75% to 80%, depending on the type of deal. You can go purchase or refinance with that.
So this is like you're buying grandma's house, you're buying something from the family. Okay.
This could be, yeah.
Okay.
And then there's land, construction, commercial, bridge, and rehab to sell. We can get we partnered with a company that will finance your entire renovation if your intentions are to sell. And there's no payments on it. You pay those costs plus a premium on the renovation expense to utilize that service. No money out of pocket to rehab that old 80-year-old home that you want to sell that's just beat up.
So rather than selling this at a low price to a flipper, let's say, or somebody who's going to come in and then do all of the work, you could finance all of these repairs and updates that need to happen in order to get top dollar for your house.
Absolutely. And they'll pay for everything.
Amazing.
And then they'll bring in a GC. They'll come in and wipe it out. It's about a 20% markup on cost of what you're looking at. So if it's a $150,000 job, you're going to pay probably about $180,000, $175,000. It's going to be slightly inflated.
Okay.
But the amount of improvement, it needs to make sense. You need to don't go overboard. And so just do what you need to get done to get the property sold.
Right.
So that's important. You'll get top dollar for your property. When that market turns, this product's going to be hot right now.
No, I would agree. Well, and this is a prime time to use it.
Yeah.
If you were to use this right now and take those 3 months to get your house ready to go, as rates come down and prices go up and our inventory changes, that's what I would be focused on right now. If I had a property that needed some repairs, I would be using this holiday time where everyone else is out going crazy shopping. I'd be like, we are getting to business.
Man, the cranium you have, the brain power, I swear, that's
it's all
true,
strategy.
though.
It's all
forget.
strategy, And I think this calls for talking to a professional and going over those numbers. Are you better off just selling it for cash to a flipper, or are you better off putting that money into it? Do you have the 3 months? What's the market prediction? Could you come out ahead if we waited until March? How long do we need for all of your repairs and updates? So I think it's strategy.
Well, speaking of repairs and updates, we did a renovation loan. Renovation is.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
It was a bank-owned property.
Yeah, that was a good
and they're
one.
hard. A lot of people think, I'll buy a foreclosure home. They're a first-time home buyer. You need a down payment, you need a plan, and you need the right team if you have any chance of getting into contract, getting a deal on a property like that.
Yeah.
This one, for example, he was doing 5% down.
Right.
And he had some money sitting on, paid off all his debt. But he got, what did he get? Do you remember what he got in contract?
$450, I believe it was. Oh, he had sold his other property. He had fixed up real nice. We were on the market 5 days, multiple offers, great deal. So he was sitting on some cash, and he came in with 5% down. I think it was $450, $455.
Yeah.
There were multiple offers. It was a to-do to get through it with the bank and the team, and it was a to-do. But we got through it with the general contractor. Thankfully, we already had that on hand.
And that was either all cash or the type of loan we came in at for the offer.
Right. It was a renovation loan. It was high communication with the agent to get it done.
Yeah.
They were taking a lot of offers and said, I don't think this is going to work with the renovation.
Right.
Let's just rule that out. We'll wait for cash. I'm like, you're not getting cash. Take our offer. And this property fell out of contract previously with a cash offer. A lot of times cash will come in, they'll make a good offer, and then they'll come down and say, actually, we need a huge reduction.
And we don't like this, and we
cash
see
is
some
king.
problems.
Right. Yeah. So people that have that idea. So we were able to get in with the renovation loan, this property at $455. The renovation loan was streamlined.
Small.
So we
it
were
was like 35 grand.
I think it was even, it was something under 35. You're right. And he's doing the rest of the repairs after close of escrow. So the health and safety items had to be done with the renovation loan, that higher cost with the general contractor. He's doing the rest of the repairs. But the comps in that neighborhood as of 6 months ago were $800,000.
And he bought it for how much?
$455.
$455. He took $35,000 loan to renovate the required items to get actual financing done. And that all happened, that closed. And then after he acquired the property, the lender dispersed the funds to the builder upon certain accomplishments that the builder did. So he did that. So he's in the property for $485, right? And it's worth how much? $800?
$800.
$800. So there are alternatives to use your money. But that's a renovation loan, folks. So you don't need $1 million. You don't need all cash to get that. So that's one alternative. The other one was a DSCR.
Yeah,
and
can you explain that?
The DSCR is, I don't even know what the acronym stands for, but to be honest with you, but
what does it mean?
So what does it mean? I'll tell you, I've done a few of these, and they're essentially, if you're self-employed, you have an owner-occupied property.
Okay.
You've got 2 or 3 rentals, or you want to buy a rental.
Okay.
And your income does not show that it can support purchasing a rental or refinancing a rental, because you, like a lot of self-employed people or people that have multiple properties, they essentially just write everything off. They don't show any income.
Right.
So I know we were coming up on our last segment here, so I just want to be quick. This particular loan, you don't need any income to prove. You just need to show that you own a primary residence.
Okay.
And you need to get a rental comparable analysis on the appraisal on the property you're looking to buy. That's an investment.
Okay.
And you can get in these properties with as little as 15 to 20% down. They base it upon the rent roll of the property.
Okay. So very similar to what we were just talking about with the commercial.
Exactly. Like there's no ratio going on. There's no income calculation. But so these loans you can acquire at a slightly higher interest rate, and it's a good way to get around that mountain of paperwork that you're going to have. But
very interesting.
So I just want to share some of that stuff with you. If you want more information on all the loans that we have, log on to promortgagerealty.com. Feel free to give us a call at 916-872-7177 and text Jessica. If you need an agent out there and you're struggling with the current one, text her to 916-532-8916. That's 916-532-8916. She'll start the process for you. She'll guide you the right direction. She'll get you into a home. She'll get 20 grand to 30 grand worth of credits for you.
We're going to get credits. Yep.
You're going to get a good deal with Jessica. And thank you for tuning in to listening to our show.
Yeah.
And we'll be back. And happy holidays coming up around here.
Yes, happy
Thanksgiving's
holidays
around the corner. So thank you for tuning in to the Real Estate Profits with Purpose.